I think I'm drawn to board games and love board games for a few reasons. One is this nice mix of like maths and strategy with artwork and visual kind of stuff. And as a gamer, I just like when games challenge me to think different ways and try things to problem solve. But a board game gets you involved in the process. You're in the world, you're making decisions and changing things, and it might affect other players or your future in the game or whatever. And just that kind of involvement, I love. I really enjoyed problem solving as a child, like in maths classes and things. So anything where I could kind of figure something out, much like Cluedo and that kind of thing, like it's what kind of attracted me more to those kind of games. But it wasn't till my sort of early 20s that I discovered more of these hobby style games. A friend of mine showed me Settlers of Catan, which I really enjoyed, and then I rushed out to Toy World, our local game store, and I picked up Carcassonne and Family Business purely just off the box covers. So as I kind of got older and thought about hobbies and things, I thought, well, I liked playing board games as a kid. Maybe I could try and make my own board game, because for me it's that same kind of thing of, I like this thing, why don't I try and do it myself? And that's how I kind of fell into designing board games. I want to make stuff, I don't know why, it's just I guess part of my nature. So making games is just this another expression of that creativity. So I chose to start Garphill Games for one game. That was my kind of ambition, was I'll make this one little game that I want to make. So Garphill was never meant to be anything big, I just slap on the name and make this game. And then I did that, and I sold a few copies and thought, oh, maybe I can make another game. And then I sort of challenged myself to make this card game. And then for those next few years, it was just a matter of going, well, can I make one more? Can I make one more? And that's kind of how Garphill ended up growing, was just me trying to challenge myself to make one game a year or 2 games a year maybe. Yeah. I think I was giving myself that challenge of making a game per year purely because I enjoyed doing it. And also because I'm very much a production kind of minded person. I like things getting done and ticking them off and achieving things. So I think it was just me kind of satisfy my own desire to make the stuff and do the things and check the boxes a little bit. So about 4 years into making board games, I had this idea for a card drafting game. And I wanted to make it about building ships. I had no theme in mind at that point, but I knew I wanted these three main resources to build the ships. And that's what actually led me to Vikings. I discovered that the long ships require mainly wool, oak and iron, and that kind of led me to this big world of Vikings and all the characters and cool names that I could incorporate. I had no ambitions of a trilogy at that point. I just had this idea of this cool Viking shipbuilding game, but I couldn't actually make it the way I usually make games, because it was a lot of artwork, more components. So I kind of sat on my shelf for probably about 2 years before I actually published it. Just sat there, we played a lot as friends, and then when I finally put it on Kickstarter and thought I might print 500 copies, I might sell 200 and then 300 stay in my garage for 10 years. But to my surprise, it just kind of blew up, and I ended up printing about 1,600 copies, sending all around the world. And that's really what kickstarted this whole idea of Vikings and led to the next few games and then becoming a trilogy. It all started basically from that one first game. Let's make a game about building ships. So when I made the decision to make shipwrights properly and put it on Kickstarter, I had to start thinking about the art style. And in my mind, I always saw Asterix, but more gritty. So more for adults, grown up version of Asterix. And so I started searching the web on DeviantArt and so on, basically just searching the word Viking, really, just Viking character, Viking warrior, whatever. And I found kind of like my top 6 artists that I really liked the style of, with that kind of cartoony but grown up feel. And then Micho, I reached out to through DeviantArt and also through Facebook, and he was just like, yeah, I'm keen, let's do this. And he fired back 3 characters within about 2 hours. And I was just blown away by what he created, and the detail and also just the emotions and the feelings of these characters were just amazing. I just knew that this was the right guy for the job. He was excited to do it. He hadn't done board games before, so it was kind of new ground for both of us. In summary, the North for me was still me discovering board game design and publishing. So while I'm really proud of what we accomplished, there's so many things I would change now looking back. But it was this process of finding people that like our games, me finding what I like to design and publish, and still learning the ropes, I guess, but growing a lot in that time. So for most of this job, I guess, this career, I kind of stumbled into it. So there's nothing I really sought out. But now that I'm doing it full time, really enjoying it, there's nothing else I'd really want to be doing. Occasionally you start thinking about like retirement and stuff, but I'd still want to make games. I think it's just you want to keep doing stuff. You want to keep making stuff, and I can't see myself doing any other job other than just making games.